Speaking about pragmatic policies and spillover effects, let's talk about the CAI, the Comprehensive Agreement on Investment between the EU and China. So it has been under very close scrutiny since the end of last year, and now, of course, due to several different situations, the implementation is highly unlikely or questionable, or we don't really know. Especially with the background of the sanction escalations in both directions. Could you share your view on the CAI and what do you think will happen with it? Is it even beneficial for the European Union, or yeah, what is your view on that? And maybe also if you could touch on the sanctions, if they will have any influence on that.
So first of all, full disclosure, because I do business between China and the EU, I clearly have a vested interest in the CAI passing through.
Yeah.
So first of all, full disclosure on that. But to be honest, this is not just my position and interest. This is also the official position of the European Chamber of Commerce, European Union Chamber of Commerce in China. It officially supports the agreement. This is also the position of any other, or at least most other business actors that are in the mix. So the whole conundrum around it has been, in my view, largely political. Now, I understand the EU's concerns on sort of level playing field and market access. And this is something that they're right to push for from the perspective of the European interest. So this is not something that's surprising, but this is not the obstacle that blocked CAI. The obstacle that blocked it is political considerations, largely, in my view. It was, first of all, completed in a way that did not please a lot of people in Europe. So after 7 years of negotiations, at the end of 2020, at the end of the German presidency, this is the EU state with perhaps the largest vested interest of doing business with China. The agreement was sort of completed in principle, quote unquote, by largely negotiators from the Commission after consultations with a variety of actors. So after this happened, you had a lot of the critical voices and the pro sort of transatlantic relationship community in Europe that began to sort of question the motivations for this, and there was a little bit of a delay in the release of the text of the agreements that also sort of added fuel to the fire there. So this is, in a way, a bit of a timing that made it more polarizing than I think it should have been. The European Commission's position has always been consistent that this is sort of Europe's move to catch up with the US Phase 1 trade agreement with China. So from that perspective, US criticism of CAI is not really sort of made from any moral high ground per se, because the US already concluded its own agreement with China. The sanctions that you mentioned, also, they just came at an unfortunate time. They came at a time when there were economic interests at stake, and the way that they escalated way too quickly as well. To a certain extent, the sanctions that China sort of announced are to a large extent in retaliation to the increasingly polarizing rhetoric on questions that China considers its own national sovereignty problems. So they're not unexpected per se. Now, whether they went overboard, this is something that's perhaps worth considering. because I'm not sure that all of them were perhaps necessary, because they're largely symbolic. Perhaps they could have been more curbed down, and the same sort of message could have been sent with less sort of polarization going on. The European sort of retaliation here is largely driven by this combination of factors. The sort of the polarization that's fueled by a number of these sources. In my view, the CAI is something that's necessary, and the CAI is something that that Europe sooner or later needs to get done. It has an economic interest in maintaining its relationship with China. China is a huge market. There is no other market in the world that will grow as quickly in terms of the wealth of the middle class as China will in the coming years. I would hope that the escalation of the rhetoric would get toned down. In terms of the achievement of CAI, I think that China made actually a lot of effort and some concessions that people wouldn't otherwise expect. In my view, China here has taken perhaps one more step back than I would have expected in the negotiation process. And if I were in Brussels right now, I would strongly advocate for unblocking the CAI and for toning down the rhetoric on all sides.
Yeah, yeah. I also had other interviews with scholars who said the same, that CAI is actually unprecedented in the benefits that the European got from China, or that China ever gave any other entity. So it should move through very quickly, and we should not risk losing it. But yeah, let's see what happens with it in the end.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Same here.